Happiness, all of us have got some idea. But the happiness depends upon either a person or an object or a situation. We feel happy with some persons, with some objects, creature comforts, and some situations. If these three are removed, and the same happiness comes, the fullness comes. That is called bliss. That is the ultimate aim. Objectless happiness. It cannot be explained, so something approximating to that, can be conveyed, that's all. Because nobody is there to convey that experience. We can only travel up to some and leave. Beautiful word, objectless happiness. When the mind is properly tamed and turned within, it results in objectless happiness. Beyond no explanation can be given. When dealing with events and individuals, try to connect them with the source. Meditation with different facets. It's also a wonderful way. When you sit for meditation, all these points will help us. When the mind goes here and there, mind is turbulent, no doubt about it. So in order to channelize, in order to get it concentrated on one single thought at the exclusion of other thoughts, something is necessary. So when we try to take the origin, for example, then the outcome will teach us this. You can't say this and that. Outcome will teach us. Because beyond a certain level, the mind will stop. It cannot. But at the same time, we know we are there. Suppose we take ourselves as the object of our, source. We are born to our parents, they are born to their parents, our great-grandfathers. They are born to their parents. Beyond that, we cannot go. But at the same time, we know we are here. We must have come from some source, the first source. Yesterday, we read out Papa's article, the first source. So what could be? No external aid can help us there, Intellect cannot go beyond that. So even if, suppose we go to the Bhagavad Gita, and he says, Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam, I am the eternal seed. It is only an intellectual statement, To know that what we have to do, nobody can guide us. The truth is, we are supposing, we must have started from somewhere. Inference, deduction, whatever you call it. Without something, we will not be there. So what is that? So all these things will help our mind to get concentrated on one thought at the exclusion of all other thoughts, and finally the thought also stops. When dealing with events and individuals, try to connect with them, with the source. Solitude aids inward journey to the source of all sources. Solitude in the beginning, the mind may be still turbulent, but slowly, when we don't contact anybody, and we are often reminded why we have taken to the solitude, slowly the mind will come around. Especially those of us who have got an anchor like Nama, we will start chanting it. mentally chanting, hearing the chanting, so many things will come. Again the mind may go out, again we will start. Again the mind may go out, again we will take to chanting. Then we try to hear our own chanting. Again the mind goes out, again we try to hear. So in the solitude there is no external disturbance that is taking place, only the internal disturbance. That internal disturbance also slowly quietens. Especially when we take to a solitude where we are not known at all. And Papa talks from his experience, wherever he finds this a place conducive for solitude, immediately he takes for it. In spite of his advancing too much, He has almost reached the goal, but still he preferred to go in for solitude almost every now and then whenever there was an opportunity. Later on we will find, in Muchukunda Ashram also. We had the privilege of going and visiting it. It is a place where even today we find it difficult to go in. Near Junagadh, Gujarat. And it was something like a cremation ground or something, where in good old days, sati was performed and nobody goes there. And such a place, he immediately as he saw, he was thrilled. And he was there for 8-9 days, and only friends were allowed to bring some food once a day, that's all. Maganlal. That means, this is convenient. This is a conducive atmosphere. Unknown place, Unknown to everybody. That means, first of all, that gives us the message. The message is that it is preferable to go in for such solitude where we are not known. To arrest the external disturbance first, then the internal disturbance. And only in such a place we can go to the source. Otherwise, the moment we start, somebody comes, talks, finish. And of course, Papa would have added today, if he was writing in 2025, he would say, solitude will help only if the mobile is switched off. External disturbance. Not that you want to disturb others. It has got its own reason why. You cannot blame the mobile. That is the purpose. Even when you are mobile, you can be contacted. Observation and experiences offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. Watching. Suppose you are in a studio, an ant moving, a bee going, a butterfly, anything, what happened then? Concentration, If you are watchful, observation and experience, automatically all other thoughts get arrested, as it were, Concentrate on one. And you will not be able to contain yourself. You will immediately call me and say, hey, look at this. No. What is there to look at? Only that person has enjoyed something which he feels it has come from the butterfly or the flower or the ant or anything like that. It is not. That is some instrumental cause should necessary to arrest all our thoughts and to concentrate. And then we get a glimpse of the stillness within us. When you see a landscape, rainbows, clouds, Papa wants us to know, probing nature can also lead to the source. Yes, probing nature should be there. Otherwise, it will not be offered to us in a platter. We try to go deep. Even Papa's teachings, that probing nature should be there. And probing nature helps us to arrest all other thoughts, prioritizing. Meditation. Meditation, the only way. Here in the text, why he made a mention about this. There were two saints in Ajmer. One was during Ramdas's stay at Jhansi, Mahadev Prasad took him on a visit to two Muslim saints. The first was an aged saint named Mirzaji. He might have been over 60 years of age, lean, bent. He would not speak, but there was a chill twinkle in his eyes. In short, he was a mere baby, simple, innocent, free. Mahadev Prasad had brought some eatables with him, which he thrust into the saint's mouth bit by bit. There was not a single tooth in the saint's mouth. The eatables were soft sweets. He chewed and swallowed them unconcernedly. He seemed to recognize nobody. His eyes had an absent and vacant look. Though bright, he was visited twice. On the second occasion, he was found sitting on the ground outside his cottage, quietly tearing to bits stray pieces of paper scattered around it. The second saint, whose name was Pirji, was comparatively a younger man than Mirzaji. He would speak and reply to questions put to him. Mahadev asked Pirji whether happiness could be found in the samsaric life, Mahadev, in which he was placed. At this question, Pirji seemed to have roused himself a little. His voice was firm, decisive. Well, brother, as I have told you several times, there is only one remedy, and that is give up the miserable life of the world, and going up to a solitary place, meditate upon God, and who alone can give you the happiness you are after. This is the only way and no other. Oh Ram, Papa immediately says, soliloquy, it comes. Papa's constant communion with him. It comes out in the form of these words. O Ram, thou hast brought thy slave in touch with these saints in order to confirm his faith in thee. The first saint teaches the state of one who reached thee. The second one teaches how to reach thee. That is why this word came, when observation and experiences offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. God made him to see two saints, The first saint teaches the state of one who reached thee. The second teaches how to reach thee. The kind Mahadev was taking him in the nights to various bhajan parties in the city. When Ramdas told him one day that it seemed to be Ram's wish that he should make a move, he was quite unwilling to part from Ramdas. To avoid an immediate contingency of a departure, he escorted him to a village called Urcha, which was about 6 miles from the city. The place is famous for the temple of Sri Ramchandra. Leaving him at this place, and after arranging for his food with a mother living near the temple, Mahadev Prasad returned to the city. His parting words were, "You may remain here as long as you like, as long as Ram wishes you to remain. When he desires to leave, kindly come back to me at Jhansi." When left alone in the contemplation of the divine guide, protector and Mother Ram, Ramdas wandered on the bank of the beautiful river of the place. On walking for about 2 miles, he came upon a number of samadhis or tombs, some very old, dilapidated, over which were erected tall conical turrets that shot high up into the eye. He understood on inquiry that they were the graves of the women, here, who performed sati, a custom prevailing in olden days. This place is now used as a cremation ground. The site is full of trees and a beautiful calm reigns over the place. He decided, as prompted by Ram, to occupy one of the tombs for a retreat. For 8 days, he remained at this place. Only for an hour at that midday, he would go to the temple, receive the rations prepared by the old mother, which considered a few saltless rotis and boiled potatoes. The whole night, he would sit up for Ram Bhajan in the tomb. Nights were spent in ecstasy. Ram's presence was felt in the very air he was breathing. Another word. Ram's presence was felt in the very air he was breathing. In the mornings, when he was repeating aloud the charming mantram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, the birds of the air, small and big, squirrels, would alight on the parapet wall, would listen eagerly with rapt attention to the sound of the great Pranava, Om. In the evening, the same sound, Om, would work like magic upon the goats and bullocks that came near the tomb for grazing. They would raise their heads, pricking up their ears, stand still, drink in the sound, O Ram. It is proved beyond any doubt that thou resideth in the hearts of all creatures. The sleeping souls of the birds of the air and the beasts of the plains are awakened to the call of Ram's glorious voice. So in Junagadh also, he will go to the Muchigundash. So the message he gives us, meditation is the only way. That is why even while chanting, he will say, initially vocal chanting will help, but ultimately for effective result, we must go in for mental chanting. Where the sound will not come out, even the lip and tongue will not move. But we will chant, we will hear. So this vocal chanting should graduate itself to that state. It's a wonderful message. Meditation, the only way. Any method we can employ, depending upon our inner equipment, So the message is given to us somehow to still the thoughts. When we go through papas, go through again and pondering over, and then experimenting in whatever way is possible, it becomes clear that meditation can be had at any place, at any time, provided the equipment is trained to concentrate on one at the exclusion of all others. That's all.
Swamiji, can you explain probing nature again, please?
Can you explain probing nature again?
Probing nature. When we see this, we can use it and keep quiet. There are various apps. Otherwise, if I got on a clerical brain, that means control C, control V, whatever, somebody says we follow, somebody says we follow. We will not be able to go deep into it, may take advantage of it. How can I do this? How can this be done? This probing nature, everywhere. Just like, as a spiritual aspirant, our probing nature starts, how did I come to this world? Because I am very clear, I did not plan, The me and mine at the moment did not plan for this birth. But I am here, How did I come? This was how the rishis of the old, They are called spiritual scientists. They went deep down into it. That is why it came out in the form of Upanishads. They resorted to solitude, exclusively started probing deep within, and then find out, and then brought out those revelations. So science requires probing nature, whether it is spiritual science or material science. When Newton, Isaac Newton, no, when he sat the apple, what is that? Mango, apple, no? Something fell on his. He could have kept quiet, no? So many things fall. But why did it fall? Why it did not go this way? So anywhere, so the truth can be discovered only by probing nature. Anything and everything. That is why you and I are enjoying all the creature comforts. If people had, like us, if they sat and soundly enjoying, we would not have been having all these things. Even today it is going on, probing, exploring, experimenting, testing, putting something together, removing something together, adding something together, directing something together. Discovery, invention, innovation, These are the things which are where, this probing nature becomes expressive. These are the results, probing nature. What is there? What is there? What is there? But it should not be for any selfish interest, that's all. That is a negative curiosity, to interfere, to understand. That will not help. Here it is purely a scientific inquiry. Even in our constitution, in our, what do you call that? Duties. Scientific temper, there is a word. Because that is encouraged. Then only the nation will progress. Not that we should have that, copy, paste, no. New things should come. They encourage even the education field, they have got this PhD. Why? It is original, A thesis is given after having assimilated. Probing nature, correct. So then you come out with something and then you place it before a panel of highly advanced people and they certify, it's a new line of thought. So he is awarded a PhD. In any line, PhD is there. That is why new inventions are coming out, It's a wonderful thing. Probing nature can also lead to. And finally, a scientist will definitely say that beyond that they cannot go, the intellect cannot go. Just like our nature, There, what helps us is something must be there, otherwise I will not exist, Only from something can come out. From nothing can come out. So what is that original something? So that is how spiritual science is. And all of us saints, they were spiritual scientists. That is why we are all benefited by that. When we say probing nature, we must have shared for the sake of new people. There is an Upanishad called Mandukya Upanishad. For consciousness, we are talking about today consciousness. Whenever somebody to ashram, we tell them what Papa meant by that. Papa defines Ram into three parts, One is called the life force, second is consciousness, and third is primordial intelligence. Our heart beats, our blood circulates, digestion takes place, breathing takes place. These are the expression of life force, without which we don't survive, we don't exist. We know that we are talking, we know that we are hearing, we know that we are seeing, we know that we are, that beingness. That is called consciousness. And the probing nature, intelligence, because of which everything we see as everything has come out. Bhagavad Gita also says. So here, this consciousness, just imagine how they have, even today, especially people like us who don't know anything about Sanskrit, but na andapratnyam, na bahipratnyam, no ubhayada pratnyam, na pratnyanaganam, na pratnyam, na pratnyam, na apratnyam. Adrishyam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, avyapadeshyam, yegatma pratyasaram, prapanchopashamam, shantam, shivam, advaitam, sa atma, sa vijnaya. It is a spiritual scientist has brought out this. And the explanation, even if you read 100 times, you will go mad. Na anda pratnyam, English, We translate it into Malayalam to understand. Not inward knowing, not dream consciousness. In dream also, there is that you had a good dream, bad dream, or you had a dream. No, it is not that consciousness. Na bahir pratnyam, no outward knowing, not the waking consciousness. Na ubhayada pratnyam, not both, not a mixture of inner and outer cognition. Na pratnyanaganam, not a mass of undifferentiated awareness, deep sleep, I had a good sleep yesterday. Who said? You were not conscious. That consciousness which witnesses. No. Na pratnyam. Not conscious in the ordinary sense. We all say, I am conscious of now talking. No. Not that. No, na apratnyam. Not unconscious either. You will go mad. Because all knowables are removed, All knowables. Then, okay, to make it again further complicated, he says, adrishtam, unseen, not an object of sense perception. Avyavaharyam, beyond all empirical dealings. Whatever we have understood, memorized, experienced, no, none of that. Agrahyam, it cannot be not graspable by the mind or senses. Then what can we do now? Alakshanam, without any distinguishing characteristics. Achindyam, inconceivable. Avyavadesham, indescribable in words. Yegatma pratyasaram, based solely on the intuition of one's own self. Intuitively only you can see. Prapanchovashamam, the cessation of all phenomenal world appearance. Shantam, peace. Shivam, auspicious, blissful, wholesome. Advaitam, non-dual, beyond all dualities. Sa atma, sa vijnaya, this is the self that is to be realized. We will all say goodbye, This is the self, this is given by a saint. So that we don't get stuck with anything in between. As we keep on advancing on our spiritual practice, there may many occasions arise where we feel we have got a glimpse, and we may get halted. So this scientist, this Mahatma, said, no, don't stop. Because you are there to explain, no? The simple fact is, you are there to explain. That fellow should not be there. Advaitam. Who is there to explain what? See the height of their probing nature. They must have been closely watching. After deleting all the nobles, and then again the mind may try to picturize pains, this is that, this is that, this is this, this is that. No. Like that, there are many Upanishads, you might be knowing, A simple thing, just imagine, you are seeing with your eyes. But the spiritual scientist started seeing what is it that sees through the eyes. And in Upanishad says, that because of which the eyes see, which cannot be seen by the eyes, know that I am. So that is why they retired, did this, sat. So when we say meditation, all these we can get some idea about the real meaning of the meditation by understanding something of it. It cannot be understood. Something of it, and then we try. We all these words are not correct, but there are no other words to express. So we don't get halt anywhere. We keep on progressing. We keep on traveling deeper into it. And once more, just he prompted us to, I will just say, na anda prajnam, no, na anda prajnam, yeah, na bahir prajnam, no bheda prashnam, na prajnanaganam, na prajnam, na aprajnam, adrishyam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achindyam, avyavadeshyam, egatma pratyasaram, prapanchopashamam, shantam, shivam, advaitam, sa atma, sa vijnaya. Negations are to remove misconceptions. It is self-luminous, not knowable as an object. When phenomena cease, peace is revealed. This is your true nature. Essence, Turiya, the silent, self-luminous awareness, is neither inside nor outside. It is the peace in which all experiences rise and rest. Rise and rest. Turiya, the silent, self-luminous awareness, consciousness, is neither inside nor outside. It is the peace in which all experience rise and rest. This is what Papa calls it as bliss. So we are back again to the meditation, so probing. All these things, the tangible gain of this research or this in-depth study of IQG is, it touches and kindles so many things which will help us in our inward journey and to become aware of His presence within. Ultimately, all these things zero to what? To become aware of His presence within. And we have been assured by Mahatmas that once we come to taste that within, we will be able to taste without. It will take some time. And when we say this consciousness, again, we remember Puja Swamiji in his writing of his memoir in 2003, he mentioned it as consciousness. He had read this, but for the sake of new people. My practice in those days was that when I saw anybody, I should see the consciousness in him, capital C, pervading every atom of his body. And I took it that the body was active only because of the consciousness, which is real and not the body. The consciousness is also called the unifying spirit that connects up all the forms in Prakriti into one unit, like the thread that connects up all the beads in a rosary and makes a single unit. I often used to repeat, "Oh Lord, you are everything. All the emotions, all the thoughts, all the feelings are you only, and there is nothing but you. You are also beyond everything." Whenever the thought of a person come to my mind, I took him to be not an individual but a part of that universe, which is the manifestation of God. From early morning, whatever I saw, whatever I touched, I used to say within myself, "This is also your form, O Lord." Thus, everything was identified with God. This made me speak less, as the mind was busy engaged in identifying everything and everybody with God and trying to be conscious of the Purusha pervading the entire body of the person or object. So I was cool and calm, enjoying the communion with God in each and every form I saw. I was mistaken to be unwell, and I had to say again and again that I was all right. Now, my effort was to maintain this in all conditions. But as soon as I started talking, the mental condition changed and the thought of God got diluted, and I was back to body consciousness. I was trying to maintain this consciousness even when talking to others at all times. Success was not much. I failed often, but failure did not deter me. My life is a struggle to maintain the consciousness of the all-pervading reality all the 24 hours. It's a struggle, but not a painful struggle. The struggle is to get established in that consciousness. So when I look at a person, I see him or her as pure consciousness in the body and a tiny speck floating in the consciousness. So all the matter in the universe of innumerable forms is only many tiny spots floating up in pure consciousness. When someone speaks, I know the sound comes from their consciousness. I know the sound comes from consciousness only. But consciousness is not affected by the so-called action. So it can be said that such actions are taking place through the vehicles, and the power for such action is drawn from pure consciousness only. So there is no ego anywhere. But each form takes upon itself the responsibility for such action, and therefore the sense of doership with all the consequences. A beautiful analysis. No? In 2003, he wrote this. 2004 May, Swamiji fell sick. When such actions take place through this body, it is felt that the body, mind, intellect, and the senses are active only because of self or consciousness. Only because the self or consciousness is activating. When I see any person, I see him or her as the center of the universe, because any form we see is the center, as the infinite has its center everywhere, but circumference nowhere. So when we remembered about consciousness, these are all the helpful matters. The saints, when they have probed deep, and then when they were able to get a glimpse of it or get stabilized in this, and when they were prompted to share for the sake of others, and in this case, because Swamiji hardly talks about anything, but luckily for the sake of all of us, he in 2003 he started writing. It was not complete, but we have taken whatever is there. We have taken it in this during his birth centenary period. We brought it out in the form of a small book, Reflections. Very deep, nothing superficial. We have to go deep into it. So when we remember consciousness, we immediately, correct. Prajnanam. And there are 4 Mahavakyas in our Ayamatma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, So Prajnanam Brahma, consciousness is Brahman. All these things. Papa has named it as Ram. Anyway, so this particular chapter, Meditation the Only Way, now helps us to probe deep into all these things. And then, along with whatever we are doing outwardly, a conscious effort is a gentle reminder to all of us. Papa is not directly telling, Papa is quoting that Pirji said, meditation is the only way. And Papa was prompted to bring out this incident and write it down. And the caption of the title itself is Meditation the Only Way. He did not give any other title. Because as devotees or sadhakas, hey, look here, you may do anything. But ultimately, it should zero to this, stilling the mind. Any method. By developing subservience to the higher power, bhakti, stilling the mind. Because you are handing over the sense of, the feeling of individuality to a higher power, bhakti. When you identify totally with the rest of the creation in the form of compassion, then you are not there, The me and mine is not there. You become one with that. Somebody is suffering, you immediately go try to do something, There is no me and mine there. So in this way, they are teaching us. Meditation, the only way, where the stillness of thoughts. Thought means the me and mine is not there. Each one of us can go deep into it and bring it in our own way. These are some of the thoughts that welled up when we are thinking about and sharing this. The more we go deep into it, the more will be the revelations. So once again, we will read, imbibe the teachings of Mahatmas rather than merely following them. Papa has clearly warned, don't accept just because Ramdas said, whether there is an inner sanction. In Bhagavad Gita, after 663 slogas, the Lord says, I have told you what is to be told, now you probe deep into it and do what you like. Ultimately, one has to go, no question of copy-paste. The first one. Imbibe the teachings of Mahatmas rather than merely following them. Ultimate aim of meditation is to still the mind and to view all activities from that plane. Outcome of meditation expresses through concentration, perfection, dedication. Me and mind stepping out, When the mind is properly tamed and turned within, it results in objectless happiness. When dealing with events and individuals, try to connect them with the source. Solitude aids inward journey to the source of all sources. Observations and experiences offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. Probing nature can also lead to the source. A very, very important and aspect in our sadhana, inward journey.
ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் சாமிஜி by being in the family, if you go meditation, physically you become useless to the family. We are against it actually.
He says that if you go for meditation while you are with the family, you'll become useless to the family.
That is because not that we have become useless to the family. We have not understood the word meditation, that's all. Even while cooking, even while washing, even while taking bath, even while keeping things in an orderly way, if we can practice this one at a time, you can practice it, no?
Then how can we shield the mind from at that time?
You can definitely, you try that, no? Unknowingly, you and I have named meditation as sitting there, cross-legged, vertebral column erect, eyes closed, concentrating on the between the eyebrow. And then all those things, the light from childhood, we have seen that. Suppose you go to Google Baba and ask about meditation, immediately this I come. So we all have developed that feeling. It may also be one of the methods. In Patanjali's Yoga Shastras, it is there, So the dhyanam means what? That is why I said it's a relative word. Each one can go deep and find that. So even while our mothers were cooking in the firewood, what a total attention was there. They wanted to bring out the thing, where all their attention should go, you remember? When the firewood, every now and then we have to be watchful. The ember. So every time we have to push it. With smoke pipe, we have to keep it aflame. And then when we see whether the boiling point has come, whether this particular ingredient can be put now, whether it is compatible, whether it is in the proper proportion, and when it is to be taken out. Cooking is a great meditation. If they are disturbed, the final product will not be up to the mark. We even vividly remember, we have stated this, we used to do for dosha and idli, we have to do this grinding. So mother, when she puts and when we do that, we will every now and then ask, acha, acha, acha. Is it enough? Is it enough? Is it enough? Then she will come and touch like this. No. Perfection is there, Suppose first we have to urdu dal, we have to put. And urdu dal has to be, it's very difficult. And then when we keep on grinding it, acha, acha, then she will come and say, it should not stick. You put the water and put. That is the test. Then we learned, that means the perfection at that stage. A 1 minute meditation is there. That's why he said perfection. It comes out in the form of concentration, perfection, dedication. Now that we have understood, intellectually at least, do you think that meditation is a separate exercise? No. When we first read Papa's words, even a conscious chanting, attentively chanting, it itself is meditation. It was difficult for us to understand. Because in our mind, meditation means we have labeled a certain particular posture, particular act in a particular place. So the ecstatic experience one gets while chanting, he is in the meditative mode. So being the spiritual children of Papa, let us not say that meditation is not possible at home. Meditation is possible anywhere.
So, Ramana Maharshi requested we say, who am I?
Is that not probing nature?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. He was able to understand. We were told when he was 10 years or 12 years, when some death took place. You know, in Tamil, Chattu Poyach, that is how they say. That is the word we used. So he said, Sattu Poyach. What is it that has gone? He was active. That body was active. Suddenly, the body, according to us, passed away. Okay? So everybody named it. So then when he asked what happened, Chattu Poyach. So what went? What was there? What went out of that body? And he had mentioned even before going to and sitting in the temple, he got the answer. It is not the through that, no. That when intense going, what is it that has gone? Who am I? The subtle and mysterious power. In such a short time. And, to enjoy that, he went and sat in the temple. That's all. Unconcerned, unruffled by anything. And somehow things started moving in a different way and finally came out with only one line.
Swamiji, when we start thinking about,
Thinking about?
The power to see is his, the power to hear is his, the power to talk is his, then exactly who am I?
You will get the answer. It can't be explained,
Nothing is done by me.
Then who is there to tell us that nothing is done by me? We immediately ask this question. When intellectually one part of the mind says everything is done by him, but who is it that says? So the probing nature should not halt there. It will be like, removing the onion. The layer after layer after layer. And what will be there? Nothing will be there. No? Though it comes in a tangible form like onion. When you start peeling out one by one, ultimately nothing will be there. But that can be seen only when you peel out, Similarly, we have put on so many things. So unless all these things are peeled out. The other day we read out, what Papa said, naked. Even Swamiji, Puja Swamiji said, the nakedness, spiritual nakedness. What is that word? No? Spiritual nakedness of the soul. Nothing is there. Not the nothing that we think of nothing. So the introverted inquiry, inward journey, that is the only method. And our intellect may interpret and halt us. Never halt. So long as the seeker is there.
That nothingness is full.
That nothingness is full.
So long as it is there, we have not reached. Simple answer. The starting point.
Swamiji, the seeker doesn't live at all.
The seeker does not live at all. Live, how does it make sense? What did you say, Padmama?
The seeker doesn't live. The moment he starts thinking, the seeker comes.
Because the starting point and the ending point is the same. Pathless path. So we will not reach anywhere. That is why at one stage Papa's thought comes back to us. Knowledge is to know that by knowledge alone we cannot reach. On a lighter vein, Malayalis can understand. On a lighter vein, one episode somebody will explain. In Nambudiri, Kerala Brahmin family, his two sons were sent for Vedic studies. And after 12 years, they came back from the Guru. And the father asked, Mansilayo, were you able to understand? So the first son started narrating all this, whatever. Okay, the second son came. can be enjoyed only in Malayalam, but I don't know how to translate. Onnum manasilayitilla ennu manasilayi. I have understood that I have not understood anything. All the knowables, I am trying to understand with all the knowables. The moment I realize that now it cannot be understood with the knowables, then I have understood something. In Upanishads also these words are there. Tomorrow, we will try tomorrow some Upanishad. Hari Om. Oh, very, very, very important, vital aspect in a sadhanas. Puja Swamiji in his book, Dive Deep and Soar High, many of you might have read. There he used to say that initially we should be devotees. Then a time should come when we should raise ourselves from the devotee stature to the sadhaka stature. Sadhaka means then exclusively for knowing this. Dive deep, soar high, control end. Teacher and seeker. I'll just read out a few. All of you are blessed with love, and it's a dialogue between a seeker and a thought. That is a soliloquy. Swamiji has put it in the form of a small book. All of you are blessed with love and devotion and a desire to a God vision. Desire alone won't do. Your aspiration to realize the truth must be fiery and your sadhana well disciplined. Instead of being merely devotees, you must turn into real sadhakas, not remaining merely as arthas and artharthis. So the seeker is asking, is there a difference between sadhakas and devotees? Yes. Devotees are those who are devoted to God but aspire mainly for worldly things. They are not generally keen to have anything higher. Whereas jitnasu, sadhakas, aspire only for God. They put themselves under strict discipline, which is like an advanced course that demands a high standard of dispassion, intensity of aspiration, and discipline. Can we all become sadhakas living in household? You can. Sadhana does not necessarily mean leaving the household. One can do sadhana living as a householder. What is required is intense aspiration to realize God, a high degree of dispassion, which will enable the sadhaka to be in communion with God constantly through chanting of His name, prayer, and meditation. Besides dedicating all the activities to Him. This is safer than renouncing everything and going to solitude for sadhana. So we should become sadhakas. More of this we will take it up tomorrow. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om to everybody.